Every time you open a bottle of ketchup, you probably think of it as an all-American classic, delivering the sweet, pure taste of ripe summer tomatoes straight to your plate. It is the ultimate comfort condiment. But what if I told you that originally, ketchup had absolutely zero tomatoes in it? In fact, the earliest version of this beloved sauce was crafted from fermented fish guts. Later, it morphed into a dark, earthy mushroom brew, and at one dark point in the Victorian era, it became a lethal chemical cocktail that almost poisoned thousands of unsuspecting people. We are going to explore the wild, unbelievable history of how a pungent Asian fish brine transformed into the most popular red condiment on the entire planet. Our story does not begin in an American diner, but over 2,000 years ago in ancient China. Local sailors and river merchants navigating the vast waterways desperately needed a reliable way to preserve their fish during long, hot, and humid voyages. Without refrigeration, food spoiled rapidly, so they developed a unique and highly effective method of preservation. They began salting fish entrails, mollusks, and soybeans, packing them tightly and leaving them to ferment under the scorching sun in large wooden barrels for months. The result of this intense fermentation was an incredibly thick, highly salty, and very pungent dark liquid. In the local dialect, they called this potent concoction koe-cheup, which roughly translated to preserved fish brine. There was absolutely no sugar involved, and certainly not a single tomato to be found. Instead, it was pure umami, a deeply savory, rich flavor that the locals completely fell in love with and traded widely across the ports of Asia. Fast forward to the late 17th century, an era of global exploration when British merchants and sailors arrived in Southeast Asia seeking spices and new trade routes. When these weary travelers tasted this local fermented fish sauce, they were absolutely thrilled. It was the ultimate flavor enhancer, possessing a magical ability to mask the terrible, rancid taste of their own spoiled ship rations and heavily salted naval meats. The British eagerly brought the recipe and barrels of the precious liquid back home to Europe, but they immediately faced a massive culinary problem. They simply didn't have the right native ingredients in England to recreate the authentic Asian recipe. Desperate to replicate that savory magic, British cooks began to improvise wildly with whatever local ingredients they had on hand. Instead of fish and soy, they boiled down foraged mushrooms, green walnuts, fresh oysters, and even used stale beer as a base. For the entirety of the 18th century, the word ketchup in Europe referred strictly to a thin, dark, salty sauce made primarily from mushrooms and spices. It became an absolute household staple across the British Empire, loved by aristocrats and commoners alike, but it was still a very long way from the iconic red sauce we recognize today. So, what about the tomatoes? Why did it take so long for them to enter the recipe? For centuries, Europeans and Americans were completely terrified of tomatoes. They firmly believed the bright red fruits were highly poisonous because the plant belongs to the infamous nightshade family, known for its deadly toxicity. They ominously called them wolf peaches and grew them strictly for visual decoration in botanical gardens. People would admire their vibrant color, but absolutely refused to take a single bite. That widespread botanical panic finally changed in 1812. A pioneering scientist and doctor named James Mees published the world's very first recipe for tomato ketchup, boldly declaring tomatoes to be both healthy and safe for human consumption. His version of the sauce was thicker and beautifully red, but mass producing it on a commercial scale quickly turned into an industrial nightmare. The tomato harvesting season was painfully short, and keeping the wet sauce fresh without modern refrigeration was virtually impossible. It spoiled rapidly, growing deadly mold and turning rancid on store shelves. To hide the foul taste of rotting tomatoes and maximize their financial profits, corrupt factory owners in the unregulated 19th century turned to dark chemistry. They ruthlessly pumped the sauce full of toxic chemicals like coal tar for artificial coloring, formaldehyde, a chemical used for embalming to stop the rot, and boric acid as a cheap preservative. Furthermore, they cooked this terrifying mixture in massive, unlined copper vats that leached dangerous heavy metals directly into the food. Eating commercial ketchup literally became a game of Russian roulette. It was incredibly dangerous and caused widespread illness. Enter Henry J. Heinz, the ambitious young entrepreneur who single-handedly saved the condiment from ruin. In 1876, Heinz revolutionized the entire food industry. He realized that using only perfectly ripe tomatoes, which naturally contain exceptionally high levels of a preservative called pectin, alongside a massive boost of sharp white vinegar and natural sugar, created a powerful natural preservative. He eliminated the need for chemicals entirely. To prove his ketchup was completely free of deadly additives and hiding no dark secrets, Heinz boldly broke industry standards and bottled his product in clear, transparent glass. Customers could finally see the pure, vibrant red sauce for themselves before buying it, marking a massive triumph of honest food science and brilliant marketing. Today, ketchup is a global culinary masterpiece that manages to hit every single taste receptor at exactly the same time. From ancient Chinese fish guts and British mushroom broths to toxic Victorian sludge and Heinz's glass-bottled perfection, ketchup has truly conquered the world.